What's going on, everyone? This is Babu Mac, and you are at Crisis in the Toyverse. And today, we are looking at the Neca Series 12 Alien Line brown-colored battle damage Xenomorph action figure. And if you could say that 20 times fast, pat yourself on the back. But all joking aside, this thing looks fantastic. It's got a great sculpt. It's got some great detailing. I'm going to bring it in here in a moment and talk about it a little more. But first, I want to get the $6 million question out of the way. Why buy this action figure? Now, there are two schools of thought, and that's why I'm addressing this question right here, right now. For some toy collectors, people look at a figure like this and go, oh, well, you know, it looks cool, but it's too specific of a design. I don't know if I really need that in my collection. I already got several Xenomorphs. And then you have people on the other side who are like, oh man, you gotta get this thing. I mean, think about the posing options in terms of toy photography with this thing, or even display options. Now, I kind of fall into the toy photography category on this one, but I will say this. I took this action figure into work last week and, you know, had it out. And I work in an office where people don't like toys, they don't collect them, but they came in, they looked at this thing, and a lot of expressions were, wow, that's crazy, or whoa, what's going on with that? So I definitely think it's eye-catching enough where people will go, that's different, but I could understand people who may not want to get it. Personally, I think it's great for those toy photography and display options. It's a great conversation piece, in my opinion. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the sculpt and detailing on this guy, because there are some amazing things here. So let's go ahead and look at the main selling point here, and that being the blood spewing out of the alien, if you will. I really like the sculpting and color choices. They look like alien acid. Personally, to me, they look like boogers, but that's just my own personal take. But I do think they're done very nicely. Now, something to note on this guy in particular is I would be careful with the ends here as I point to them. When posing the figure, or even putting him up somewhere or storing him away, you wouldn't want those to break off, because that would be very bad, and then you get angry. Nobody likes an angry toy collector. But with that being said, I think the selling point with the blood effects here are very nice. Now, the other figure in the line, I definitely think's a lot better, but this one is definitely very cool too. But in terms of rest of the sculpting and paint job, done very fantastically. Neca always pouring huge amounts of love and dedication into their toy lines. But just being honest with you guys, I think everybody knows at this point, this is their signature, their calling. And I dare say even their biggest passion is doing this line and doing it fantastically. The vents on the back are done very nicely, sculpted all throughout. I mean, for the price point, for $24, you can't beat what you're getting. And it's got great articulation. I mean, the toes are just done fantastically. The fingers here are done great. The head looks scary and menacing and true to form. And, you know, I really appreciate that. So enough of the chitter chatter. Let's go ahead and break down articulation. Let's start with the head, since I have everything all zoomed in here. So the head, here's the interesting thing. You have this plug in the back, and I'm going to point this out too. This figure comes with no accessories. Technically, you could count this as an accessory right here, but I think personally it's more for functionality than anything else. But with that removed, the head can go back a good amount. It can go down a good amount. Now, it's on a ball peg that shifts a little bit, so you do get that forward and back motion ever so slightly. And you do get that side-to-side action right here too, which is very nice and very appreciative. Like I said, looks up, looks down. You can turn the head, but here's something else I want to note. The cables that connect from the lower jaw into the back of the figure here, those I would be a little more careful with in terms of turning the figure. You wouldn't want them to rip off, because once again, an angry toy collector is not a happy toy collector. So it's just something to note. In terms of the jaw, it does open up, which is very nicely. A huge amount of opening right there. with that being said, he does have the mini mouth in there. And you just pull it out here, and you get that going on too. So that's very, very nice. In terms of the upper body, let's zoom back out a little bit here. It is on a diaphragm joint that goes down that much. Goes back quite a bit, and you do get side-to-side action. So no problems there. And it's hidden very nicely and looks great. The arms are on a ball hinge. They can go out that much. If I can get the camera to work with me. They go down, and they can spin all the way around. But once again, I would be careful with it just because of the end of the blood splatters there. You do have a double-jointed elbow here that works on a hinge system as well and swivel. So that's very nice. The wrist swivels and hinges up and down. And you do have a point of articulation at the fingers for added articulation and attitude, if you will. So it's the same thing on the other side. Let's talk about the tail. The tail is sculpted very nicely. It does swivel, but here's the cool thing. It's got bendy wire in it for added articulation and posability options, which is always nice. Nice little added bonus there. The legs, can he do the splits? Absolutely he can. And they're hidden right in there with the a ball peg system. And they go out that much. They kick forward that much. They kick back a fair amount as well. Double jointed knees with a swivel system involved there. We do have a ball peg at the foot that allows for ankle pivot. Can go up that much. Go down a fair amount. And you do have a toe hinge. And it's, once again, same on the other side. So all in all, definitely more than happy with the articulation on this guy. How can you not like it? It's done very nice. There's no problems there. So definitely worth the price point of $24.99 and articulation alone. Let's do the size comparison and call it a day. All right, gang, here is the size comparison. In the middle, we obviously have our alien figure, but on one side of the screen, we have the Mezco Judge Dredd, and on the other side, we have, from this series of alien figures, Private Ramirez. All three fit in very nicely, looking good. So that just gives you a kind of idea of what you're playing with. And obviously he's bent down a little bit, but I think they work great either way. So here's the bottom line. Should you buy this figure? Now, if you go back to what I said previously, keep that in mind. But personally speaking, I think it's worth your money because it's such a unique toy item. I know there's been other versions of the Battle Damage released before, so take that in consideration as well. But personally, I think it looks very nice. It's fun. And it'll definitely get a conversation started. So keep that in mind. So that's going to basically do it here today for the review. Just a few shout outs real quick. Firstly, I'd like to thank the DTKC show. Go check them out every Monday night. Also, if at all possible, head over to BigBadToyStore.com for all your toy and collectible needs. Look, I use their service. I enjoy it. I like the fact that you don't pay till it ships. That's always very nice. Also, you see all the time I use the dioramas in my background and the backdrops from Extreme Dash sets. I do it because I love the product. I care about it and I believe in it. And if you're into that sort of thing, go check them out. They're definitely worth your money. The guy has a passion for this, who does this, and you won't be disappointed, to say the least. Also, head over to undercovercapes.com for all things geekery in the podcast world. It's not only where I call home, but you can find things from Marvel, DC, indie, movie spoilers, and video game podcasts to satisfy that geek appetite that exists in almost anybody who watches this video. And finally, if you're on Instagram, head over to @ToyLoverCrew and use the hashtag ToyLoverCrew to share your toy art, or even just look at it and talk to people who do toy photography. You'll definitely enjoy what's going on there, and you'll always be welcomed. Stay tuned at the end for the slideshow, and until next time, great googly moogly.